So millions of Social Security beneficiaries could be greatly impacted by a new bill that was just passed in the Senate. Democratic lawmakers are now calling on President Biden to take immediate action to pass an executive order that will provide millions of people, especially seniors, more stimulus aid. The House of Representatives passed a new bill that could change the way Americans save for retirement. The House passed the Secure Act in a bipartisan vote of 414 to 5. The bill was then sent to the Senate, where it was read twice and referred to the Committee on Finance. In a statement, Democratic Representative Richard Neal said, "After a lifetime of hard work, no person should face financial uncertainty in their old age. The bipartisan legislation will make it easier for workers to save and plan for their futures. In advancing this measure, we build on the positive impact of the Secure Act and continue expanding opportunities for Americans to plan their golden years." Representative Kevin Brady, who introduced the bill alongside Neal, also applauded this passage, saying it will enable more workers to start saving earlier and give them peace of mind in their plans for the future. The new bill would bring about several changes to the way Americans save for retirement. For instance, it would promote saving earlier by expanding automatic enrollment for employee contribution into 401k plan. The bill would require employers to enroll their employees at an automatic 3% of their annual income, which would increase each year until hitting 10% employees would have the option to opt out of this plan. Not only is the bill going to allow people to start saving for retirement sooner, it also allows them to save for longer. Student loan borrowers are likely grateful for the extra 4 months of relief that President Biden just gave them. Lawmakers in Congress wanted the president to do either more or less, leading up to May 1st, with student loan payments having been scheduled to resume. The president did the former, answering pleas from Democrats and advocates who argued that borrowers did not have enough to foot another monthly bill amid the crisis and rising inflation. Kamala Harris actually said this pause is going to help 41 million people keep up with their monthly benefits and meet their basic needs. It will also give borrowers some urgently needed time to prepare for return to repayment. Kamala Harris added that she and President Biden understand that student loan debt adds stress for borrowers and their families. So far, President Biden has canceled about $17 billion worth of student debt for some groups of borrowers, like those who were defrauded by for-profit schools. While for many, the fourth extension of the pause on student loan payments was a welcome relief, and some Republican and Democrats have said that they continually extended the pause. Continually extending the pause is just prolonging uncertainty for borrowers. Some of you may receive your next stimulus check a little later than others. If you are on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or RRB, then you want to continue watching this fourth stimulus check update because we have a ton of news to go over. So there's a lot of things currently going on in Congress, but the IRS also seems very overwhelmed right now. As this year's tax season begins, about 3/4 of Americans will get an annual tax refund from the IRS. According to data, the annual tax refund is often a family's biggest check of the year. Now it's really great that many people will be receiving an extra payment to help during this crisis. Now, taxpayers can see a repeat of last year in processing. That was when about 30 million taxpayers had their tax returns and refunds held up by the IRS. Now I know many of you are worried about when you can expect to receive your refund check, so let's go over what officials are saying about this. Just this week, Treasury Department officials warned that this year's tax season will be a challenge with the IRS starting to process returns. That is largely due to the IRS' large backlog of returns from 2021. As of December 31st, the agency had 6 million unprocessed individual return, which is really ridiculous. However, it is a significant reduction from a backlog of 30 million in May, but still far higher than the 1 million unprocessed returns that is more typical around the start of tax season. Now I know that this new information may make taxpayers nervous about delays in 2022, but don't worry. According to the IRS, most people should get their refunds within 21 days of filing. But some important news to remember, everybody, is that claiming tax credits may delay the delivery of your tax refund check. So the IRS announced that claiming the earned income tax credit of the child tax credit will slow down your tax return due to regulations designed to deter fraud. But this all means that people who claimed those credits and filed their returns on January 24th or close to that date may not receive the refund until early March. There are also a few other issues that could slow down your refund, like errors like
Let's get to work. Let me begin by thanking Ranking Member Graham and the other members of this committee for being with us this morning. Some will be here, some will be virtual. And I also want to thank the many witnesses who will be with us today remotely because of the pandemic. Today, we are going to be discussing an issue that, in my view, is of enormous consequence, both morally and economically, but it is an issue that gets far too little discussion, and that is the crisis of income and wealth inequality in our country. The simple truth is that today in America, the very, very rich are getting much richer, while tens of millions of working-class Americans are struggling to put food on the table and take care of their basic needs. This morning, we are going to learn why it is that the middle class in our country, once the envy of the world, whole world looked to the United States and saw a growing and strong middle class, but why it is that that great middle class has been in decline for decade after decade after decade, while at the same time there has been a massive transfer of wealth from working families to the top 1%, an issue that needs to be discussed. We're going to be talking about why it is that during this horrific pandemic, 63% of our workers have been living paycheck to paycheck, worried that if somebody in the family gets sick or the car breaks down, they will be thrown into financial desperation because they don't have the money to pay those bills. Meanwhile, same exact time, 660 billionaires, richest people in America, have become $1.3 trillion richer. So during the pandemic, millions of people are struggling, put food on the table. Handful of billionaires are becoming much richer. We're going to talk about the obscenity of the 50 wealthiest Americans now owning more wealth than the bottom half of our society. 50 people, half of our people, 160 million people. While at the same time, over 90 million Americans are uninsured, have no health insurance, or are underinsured, can't afford to go to a doctor when they get sick. Is that the America that we want? I don't think so. We'll be asking about how it happens that the top 1/10 of 1% now owns more wealth than the bottom 90%. 1/10 of 1%, more wealth than the bottom 90%. And two individuals, Bezos and Musk, now own more wealth than the bottom 40%. And meanwhile, we're looking at more hunger in America than at any time in decades. Incredibly, if income inequality had remained the same as it was in 1975,